We have an opportunity here to learn some fabulous things about parenting. I'm Baer, and I'm here to teach you the challenging but critically important task of discerning between your child's wants and needs. Parents who can't do that are just stuck, and so are their children. Not every want is wrong. Not every need is urgently critical. We're going to talk about discerning between those, navigating those waves. I know a 10-year-old boy, Julian, who's going to help us understand this. He's quite a soccer fan. Mostly he watches a lot of matches on television, but he also plays around the neighborhood some. His middle school has a soccer team, so he joins the team workouts, which are quite strenuous. Now remember, he's a young kid whose body is still developing, and although kids appear to be indestructible, they're not. All of that starting and stopping and turning in the workouts cause a partial tear where the Achilles tendon of the calf attaches to the developing bone of the heel. Not a small injury. If a patient isn't very careful, the tear can easily worsen to the point where the tendon just tears off the bone. And now we're looking at, well, either being crippled for life or surgical reattachment and prolonged recovery. So Julian's doctor prescribes absolutely no motion of the ankle, none, for several weeks. An unusual prescription. He's supposed to wear this enormous plastic boot that holds the foot and the ankle completely immobile. This is an impressive boot. Now, here's the thing about this injury. With most injuries, pain is information. It tells you to stop doing what you're doing before you worsen the injury. Pain means lighten up, back off. If you have a history of lower back pain, for example, and you feel a little pain while bending, well, stop bending, and usually all will be well. Not so with a partial tear of the Achilles tendon. If you're experiencing pain, the pain means that you're already tearing the tendon. You have to immobilize the heel so you experience zero pain. This is a real problem for a 10-year-old who thinks he's invincible. Hence the enormous boot Julian is wearing. But the boot isn't a guarantee. Julian can still move around stupidly or do anything that causes pain, but he can't have any pain. So Julian's mom watches him closely, and within the first hour of getting home, she can see him edging the boot closer and closer to the wall. She knows that he's going to kick the wall. But she waits. Sure enough, he kicks the wall, which leaves a mark on the wall, and then he winces from the pain, which worsens his tear. The pain doesn't worsen the tear, any motion does, and pain tells him that he's worsening it. He just can't control himself, and he has a long history of doing that. He does whatever he wants with no regard for the consequences to himself or others. To make things worse, the school has planned a summer trip, and there will be a week at the beach, lots of athletic activities, a couple of museum trips, the usual fun stuff. Mom calls me and asks what I think about Julian going on the trip. She says, he promised to be careful on the trip, which made me actually burst into laughter. And two, she said, the chaperones for the trip have offered to watch him and protect him and help him and make him feel included, even though he can't do everything. And I ask her, so what is your job as a mother? Pay attention, everybody. Is it your job to make sure he has fun? Nice. Or could it be that it's your job to love him and teach him how to be responsible and help him develop a sense of competence that he'll carry with him for the rest of his life? Which, Mom says, well, and I'm already going, so the kid's going to have to learn this the hard way because Mom is too. She said, well, he's really been looking forward to this trip. It would break his heart if he couldn't go. So now let me talk to all parents. This is where we get fatally distracted by our kids almost every time. We look at their sad, pleading little faces while they beg to do something fun or buy something or whatever, things they want, and our little hearts melt. Oh, we want them to have fun. But mostly we're afraid of them. We're afraid to cause them disappointment and pain because then they express their disappointment and disapproval and pain at us, which we hate. Listen slowly. If your goal is to avoid disappointment and disapproval in your child and give them everything they want, you're doomed as a parent. Not kidding. The higher goal here is not to please your children. Your job is to love them and teach them how to be happy for a lifetime, how to feel loved, how to be loving, how to be responsible. And in the process, they'll have tons of fun. Really, you're not killing the fun. So, what do I say to Julian's mom, who's wondering whether to let him go on a week-long school excursion? Well, first I have to stop laughing. And then I say, Mom, Julian can't be trusted not to kick the wall at home with you watching him. He couldn't be trusted to control himself for 10 seconds. And that's on the same day that he gets the boot put on his foot with strict warnings. There is zero possibility that he could be careful on a long trip. None. He promises to be careful, but he can't control himself on a good day with little temptation. No accusation of him. That's just where he is. On the trip, he will fail. If you care about him, you won't let him go on a trip that you know is going to hurt him. Well, Mom lets Julian go, but only after, of course, he promises to be careful. So one day, the next day, after Julian leaves, Mom gets a call telling her that Julian is in the ambulance, screaming in pain on his way to the hospital. Julian was playing around and completely tore his tendon from the bone. And then the surgery is successful, but of course, that's not the end. After the surgery, people often have problems with walking, leg strength, flexibility, all that stuff, despite excellent rehab. So what's the lesson here? Mom unwisely gave her child a single day of fun, what he wanted, but essentially she caused the child's tendon rupture and the explosion of pain and the surgery and the physical therapy and potentially some life-changing problems in his leg with walking. Bummer. And that's exactly what happens with parents and children in so many ways emotionally. We parents are reluctant to cause our poor babies any delayed gratification, any refusal of their desires, anything unpleasant. But in return for our fears and weakness, we get children who are selfish and entitled, irresponsible, unloving, and quite unable to have fulfilling relationships and happy lives. What a price! By pampering our kids, we're killing them, just as surely as Julian's mom caused his surgery and subsequent physical problems. We have to summon the courage to love and teach our children. We have to understand that sometimes our children must experience discomfort, restrictions, not getting what they want in the process of growing. We must understand that our job is to see to our children's needs, not to satisfy everything they want, although we can give them tons of what they want. It's all about the parents. It's all about you. Go to realloveparents.com and take the next solid step to becoming a ridiculously effective parent. And give those like and subscribe buttons a tap to keep these valuable parenting lessons rolling in. Don't miss out. I'm Greg Baer. I look forward to seeing you again. In the meantime, remember that it's all about the love.